So this isn't a video I was quite expecting to make about the Sigma 65mm f2 DGDN prime lens. I do mainly sports and news for the paper, and sometimes you get these kind of assignments where you just kind of have to get it done. There's not really much thought or interesting aspects to the story. I'm talking specifically about this photo. It's what we affectionately call in the business a building mugshot. It's just basically to illustrate when you have a story, just to kind of give the story a place, context, that sort of thing. And I had to go take pictures of this building the other day for a story. Doesn't really matter what the story was about. And I took this lens. I didn't have it on the A7CR. I had it on the S3 that I have. But I was really surprised when I got back. The quality of one specific thing. Now, people have talked a lot about the sharpness of the lens, and it is sharp. They've talked about the autofocus of the lens, and it is fantastic. But the way it renders edge definition, I guess I would say, as well as something that the French have a phrase called je ne sais quoi, which means something, I don't know what. It's that thing that you see or you taste or you smell, and there's something about that moment that you can't quite put your finger on, but you know it as soon as you see it. As soon as I saw the photo of this fire hall, I knew that this lens had that something that I couldn't put my finger on exactly. And there's a quality to the rendering of the edges, and in these other photos that I took while I was on assignment, yesterday actually, out just taking pictures for a story about a lake, and I made some pictures, and it really struck me the quality of the way it renders reflected light, and just it's got a character about it that is really there in the photos immediately when you see, even on the back of the camera, even on the screen, which isn't usually where you see, you don't really see greatness in your photos on the screen on the back of the camera, no matter how good the screen is. But even when I was still in the field yesterday, taking pictures of the lake and of some tractors that I happened to see along the way, that photos that you see here, just photos that interested me, so I stopped to take the photos. And I was just amazed at what this lens can render. It's absolutely not a sterile clinical lens. Yes, it is very sharp. Yes, it is a modern design lens naturally. It's not even one of the art series, which are supposed to be kind of Sigma's top quality glass. This lens just does it for me in every possible way. I mean, starting with the rendering, as I've gone on and on about, the size of the lens, I think is wonderful. 65 is kind of a length that's short telephoto. I've never been a fan of really 85 millimeters. For some reason, I know we're only talking about the difference of 20 millimeters here, but for whatever reason, I just feel like the 65 really gets that short telephoto lens length that feels comfortable for me to shoot, and kind of in my mind's eye when I'm shooting, kind of what I thought of I can replicate with this lens, I guess I would say. So yeah, just like out in the field, which is where, I'm on assignment, every day of the week when I'm working every day. I'm a full-time photographer and videographer for the paper I work for, and it's how I can use the lens to get the best results, often very quickly, because if you know anything about working for a newspaper, you may or may not have much time to really do the photos that you would like. You have to shoot and scoot. You get the photo and you move on to something else. And it just, I can zoom with my feet, yes, with other lengths of lenses, but there's something about this lens and about the length, I guess I would say, that allows me to visualize, to think about a photo, and then be able to express that photo with the gear more quickly in this case. So, I mean, this is a kind of a personal way of looking at lenses and gear, but it's part of that inspiration that some people have about gear. And I've heard and I've felt, frankly, sometimes that Sony gear maybe doesn't inspire folks as much as like Fuji or Leica. I have a number of Fujifilm cameras. I used to have a number of Leica cameras. And they do inspire me to take photos. The right glass, I also feel, regardless of the system you're using it on, will inspire you. This Sigma lens does scratch that itch, let's say, for me personally. And not that you're looking to me for a recommendation for a lens, but in my personal experience, even only having this for about a week and a half now, it's extraordinary. I probably will buy one, actually. I've borrowed a lot of gear from different camera companies, and I don't really buy much after I've borrowed something to use on assignment or for a review, mostly assignment, I'll be honest. But I do feel like this lens would suit my needs. And for that reason, I am eternally grateful to Sigma US for loaning me this lens for a couple weeks to try out. I will be using it tomorrow for a state basketball playoff game or state final game that I'm shooting. I'm going to be shooting, obviously, a few thousand photos of that game, and I will give you my final thoughts about the lens then, about it being used specifically for sports photography. Thanks very much, folks. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all again real soon.